I'd like actually to make a special welcome to two of our presidential visitors. Firstly, to Louise McCance-Price, or Lou, as many people call her. Lou, could you just identify yourself, please, so I can see you on the screen? I know you're there somewhere.
Hello, President David. Thank you for the invite today. And hello, everybody.
Thank you. And I see you have now, Lou is an international voice artist, and she is from Cape Town, South Africa, originally. She did a Rotary Youth Exchange program in New Mexico, and is now based in Putney in London, where she is the president of the Rotary Club. She's been there she's been in London for 20 years, and of which 8 she spent running an independent TV company, producing natural history documents. As the vibrant president of the Rotary Club of Putney and contributing in this next section of our program, hello, Louise.
Hello, David, and thank you for such a warm welcome. Bless you.
Would you be kind enough to introduce Habib?
Yes, indeed. So Habib Saba, president of the Rotary Club of Beirut, Cosmopolitan. We've been working together, as many of you will have known, on a fundraising campaign for projects, a global grant project in particular in Beirut. So Habib Saba.
Greetings. Thanks for the introduction, President Louise, and thanks for the invitation, President David. It's a pleasure to be here. Greetings, everyone.
Thank you. Now, President Louise, would you show us a short video, please, of this next section? We're going to talk about, well,
These were the shocking moments when a catastrophic blast tore through the heart of Lebanon's capital, Beirut. The cause? Incompetence at the very top.
The whole political reigning elite, they allowed this to...
Sorry, that was just the introduction video. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Louise. Now, Habib, you were there, President Habib, you were there at the time, and as president of your Rotary Club, you will have taken on a broad range of responsibilities. But how did this disaster affect you personally, your family, friends, and fellow Rotarians?
Thanks for the question, President David. I was in Lebanon. Fortunately, I should say, I was not in Beirut. But I can say that coming into the new Rotary year, we already had a large amount to deal with in terms of the financial, economic meltdown, the Corona situation, supporting millions of refugees in the country. The system was already at the point of enormous collapse. And then this happened. We were actually already planning for this particular year, Rotary year, to focus on sustainable community economic development because more than 50% of the population was sliding below the poverty line. And then we were hit with this enormous explosion, which impacted every corner of Beirut. So you can imagine how we had to basically change our direction and add another dimension to already a very difficult year that we were dealing with. So it's been a very challenging year, but as all Lebanese do, they get up and get on with it. And that's what we're trying to do at the moment.
President Louise, your past president and a friend of our club, Colin Matthews, was instrumental in putting you in touch with RC Beirut Cosmopolitan. How did this come about?
Yes, indeed. Colin is a past district governor and a valued member of the Putney Rotary Club. And many years ago, Mimi, who is actually a member of RC Beirut Cosmopolitan, came to talk at our club well before my time, and they had kept in touch. And so when we started the campaign, Colin sent me a newsletter that he had continued to receive from Mimi, and said, why don't you reach out to RC Beirut Cosmopolitan, which I did, and got in touch with Habib, and this resulted in our fortuitous connection. So it's a real tribute to the friendships and relationships that are set up, and you never know when the seed will bear fruit. So thank you. Yes, Colin has been incredibly instrumental in it.
Thank you very much, Louise. Habib, how have you actually set about working together in the recovery effort, particularly with other Rotary clubs?
Right.
Do you have the and do you have the resources to see this through?
Right. Obviously, it's a giant task that we're dealing with. And shortly after the explosion, President David, we actually looked at the priorities in the aftermath of the explosion. Obviously, you can divide it into two categories: the short-term aspects, or the immediate relief, if you like, and the long-term. Immediate relief were things like medical supplies, food, cleaning up, blankets, shelter, etc., etc. And we were fortunate to have wonderful interactors and Rotaractors in our club who formed part of the first responders to deal with that. And it says a lot about the youth in our country that basically straight after the explosion, from all corners of the country, were down in Beirut seeing how they can help, from cleaning up to helping with food to helping the elderly. The second component to that was a long-term part. And we as Rotary Club Beirut Cosmopolitan felt we had to focus on a long-term aspect of this problem. And so we decided to look at a number of projects. One of them was the rehabilitation of the operating theater of the public hospital, which was basically 900 meters away from the epicenter of the explosion. And we're collaborating with other clubs for that. We also are collaborating with clubs on dealing with minor repairs in homes. Many of the homes in Beirut had their windows and doors shattered. Glass was all shattered. So we've been helping with that. And we've also been helping with psychological trauma support. Our club secretary is in fact a psychologist. So she's spearheading that long-term component. So you can see there's two segments, short and long-term, and we're both trying to do what we can. The task is enormous. You ask about the resources. Obviously, no resources enough, but we're taking it one day at a time, one step at a time.
Thank you, President Habib. President Louise, you seem to have committed yourself to this wholeheartedly. Why?
Thanks for that. Well, this project is very close to my heart. As you said, I come from South Africa, where, as you know, the divide between rich and poor is significant, and largely because of our government's apartheid policy. So the discrepancy that exists in Lebanon is very similar in parallel, with 50% of people living below the poverty line. Habib will obviously explain further, but this project is for the poorest people who have nowhere else to turn. So I've chosen to let this Beirut campaign become my main focus, because people, when they're at their most vulnerable and ask for help, I believe we need to be compassionate and look after our fellow human beings. As Rotarians, we need to step in where the need is greatest. So yes, I'm spending a huge amount of time on this project with Habib, and not only am I gaining some wonderful friends of fellow Rotarians right around Great Britain and Ireland, but I feel like I'm putting my time and effort, which obviously I can't get back, into a very worthy cause. So yes, I think it's a very important cause to focus on. Thank you.
Habib, could you explain your global grant application, and particularly for a project for a hospital, the Quarantina Hospital, and how is it going?
Indeed. Just to add a little bit more information, the Quarantina Hospital is the only public hospital in Beirut itself. And it's a very important point to highlight. All hospitals are private hospitals. And if you don't have private insurance, it's very difficult to get access to those hospitals. So this presents as the only opportunity for those that are slipping below the poverty line to basically get healthcare when they need it. and especially as the focus is on children. This is the project is for a pediatric and neonatal operating theatre in the hospital wing. As far as the global grant, we've already started the global grant process. We have a global grant number. We've almost finished the application. We've got the BOQ from the hospital, and we're basically interacting or communicating with our international Rotary partners around the world to support us with this project to reach our target, including, of course, the UK, and with our coordination moving forward with President Louise.
Thank you. President Louise, what is the financial target and how is it going? And perhaps you could also add the connection with District 1130 and how that's assisting you in your campaign.
Yeah, sure. President David, would you like us to show a little bit about the...
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, yes. Do show the video. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no problem. I'll show that first and then answer your question. Thank you.
هلا بنتك الكهرباء كلها.
That's the ICU.
يا صبايا. ايه؟ لا منيح. فينك تسمعنا الصوت بعدين؟ هذه غرفة الريزيدنت.
As you can see, that nurse was obviously overcome at the end. So that is Karantina Hospital, and that was the ICU, I believe. And President Habib can say that about the children that were in there.
Yeah. Just to stress again, I mean, out of the 4 hospitals in Beirut that were badly devastated by the explosion, this was the closest to the epicenter, only 900 meters away, so it was fully destroyed. And those neonatal patients, it was only the fact they were in the actual incubator units that managed to save them from death. Those children were very quickly taken away from that hospital after the devastation and moved to a safer location in different hospitals around Beirut. But the entire pediatric unit was totally destroyed, as you can see, as you saw from the actual video itself.
So to answer your question, President David, thank you. We started with a very small target, actually, with our campaign. We just wanted to do something to help Beirut. So we were going to put £500 aside, and then very quickly I expanded it to 5,000. And after spending time with Habib talking through the project and what was needed, he came to talk to our club on the 17th of August. And we started then thereafter doing talks around the UK for other clubs and collaborating. And we very quickly set ourselves a much bigger target. It's now $140,000 US. And we've got about 40,000 of that so far. So we're almost a third of the way there, but I'm convinced that by working together with our Rotary network across Great Britain and Ireland, we will definitely make this target. And the support has been heartwarming. People have, clubs have shown support from Scotland to Sudbury. We've spoken in Devon and Dorset and in Norfolk, and every club has tried to spread the word even further. So it really is heartwarming that we are stronger together. It's been going very well. Also, sorry, District 1130 set up a Beirut fund, as you know, and many clubs who attended the Beirut talk that Habib did at Putney donated to this as well. And we're working together to leverage the DDF to grow the pots and then obtain matching funding from Rotary International, the foundation. So, and this is for the global grant that Habib's Beirut Cosmopolitan Club has set up. So that is our focus.
So as I understand it, district will are hoping at least to match the funding that the clubs raise, and then you get a global grant, hopefully, to actually match the funding that comes from UK. Is
Yes,
that?
that's from the they match the district. Yes.
So could I ask you both, actually, what do you think that the Rotary Club of London, from what you know about it and what you aspire to gain from it, what could we do to help you in your campaign?
We know that there are so many worthy causes, and there are thousands. So I think Rotary Club of London can show support by supporting the District 1130 contributing to the Beirut project in this way, because I think by leveraging the district funds, we can really then obtain more funding from Rotary International, which is brilliant. And if the London Club members are moved to do so, it would be wonderful if you could donate to the children's section of the Quarantine State Hospital. And of course, your encouragement and support goes a long way to keeping us motivated. So thank you.
Habib.
Right. Thank you so much for that nice overview, President Louise. It makes my job much easier. Just to respond, President David, yes, so obviously our objective is to reach our target. And so the primary focus is to make sure that we can get the funds in place to accomplish our global grant. And the quicker we do that, the quicker we can move on to other projects. In addition to that, obviously it would be great that if each club can speak to the neighboring clubs in your district, in your country, to see how they can come on board to make sure that we can achieve this objective and achieve other objectives as well.
Thank you both. I would just like now to say that should any member wish to contribute, the usual process of sending funds to our charitable fund, care of Hugh Kirk, either by cheque or direct debit, will work very well. And if you market this particular donation for Beirut or even for the Quarantine Hospital, then the funds will end up with Beirut and with a Rotary movement in Beirut. This money is going nowhere near the political structures that sometimes get involved in charitable activity. I think that is one of the benefits of actually supporting the Rotary movement in providing these funds for the benefit of the Children's Hospital. So thank you very much for your attention to the presentation. Thank you both, President Habib. I'm relieved the power didn't fail during your presentation, as I knew it might. And thank you, President Louise, and we hope to join you in Chamonix in the background as soon as we can. So thank you both.
David, it's Tim Ward. Could I just make one point while everybody is on? The Rotary Club of London is committed to €2,000 each year for the R6 project. And this is a project between 6 Rotary clubs of the capital cities of Europe. And this year it's being done by Brussels, and they have got a Rotary project in Beirut to provide laptops. And they're doing a global grant for that. And we're committed to €2,000 from that out of our fund.
I do understand that, Tim, and I understand the commitment. And we said that we talk about that at the next council meeting. So I understand that. I understand that it is in the profile of our work with Beirut, and my note that didn't go out said exactly that before this presentation. But we had been committed since late August to supporting Putney, so and our September council meeting. So we need to do both. That's quite clear. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, I can see Lou on the screen. Maha, would you like to?
Yeah, well, it's just that, Louisa, you know, the Putney Rotary Club, I would like to contribute something towards the project, your project. And, you know, Lebanon is a second country that I loved and I appreciated when it was in its glory. So it hurts me when I see the misery now they are in. So please contact me. You have my address with the Rotary Club, and I would like to help you as much as possible. But I'm going to do it through our Rotary Club, which is really basically, but I want to know exactly how can I help with the rest of the project, okay? Because I have a charity and we would like to help, okay? Thank you very much, Louise.
Thank you so much. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about how you come to love Lebanon so much, and maybe Habib can, talk to you a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Yes, Habib. Well, I lived in Lebanon for 15 years and I raised my children there. So for me, Lebanon is my second country. Back home, I mean, in Lebanon and in Iraq, it's the roots never fail. I lived there when it was in its glory. Beirut was the most beautiful country and still is if politics does not interfere with it. And for me, it's a disaster what happened. And I would like to contribute to the quarantine hospital for the babies,
I share your sentiments, Maha. Many of you may not know, but it used to be called the Paris of the Middle East and the Swiss of the Middle East.
I agree with you.
And it had its heyday in the 50s and 60s. And tragically, with the onset of the Civil War, things went downhill. But it has a long and proud history that goes back, thousands and thousands of years. Byblos is arguably the oldest continuously inhabited city. And though we are going through a difficult period right now with multiple problems, multiple dimensions of problems, the phoenix always rises from the ashes. And the Lebanese are a resilient people, and they'll stand up and find a way to get through this, despite all the difficult and financial and economic difficulties. And on top of that, the recent explosion.
Well, I do appreciate what you're doing, but I know that the Lebanese people, I have many friends, and I tell you, I cried my head off when I saw it. I saw the whole the explosion and the suffering and the whole thing on TV. MTV was my favorite channel.
Right.
So MTV is my source of information, and you have my sympathy and you have my sorrow, not only sympathy. Sympathy is a very small word, but my sorrow and appreciation to what you are doing and you will do. With definitely you will reconstruct Lebanon back to its glory. Okay.
Thank you, Maha. Thank you for your support. And for the audience that is not familiar, when Maha refers to MTV, it's not the music channel. There's a local TV station called MTV
Lebanese MTV.
For the family name Mur TV. So it's a combination of current affairs and politics and general social programs. Just to clarify that.
Definitely, that's what I mean. Lebanese MTV.
Habib, something you didn't have time to mention were how other members of your Rotary Club have been affected.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to touch on that, and I was just a little bit concerned of the time. Unfortunately, this explosion affected us as a Rotary family directly. What do I mean by that? One of the presidents of this year, one of my fellow colleagues and our fellow colleague, David and Louise, was visiting one of his family members in a hospital, one of the hospitals that was badly hit. And he was killed instantaneously in the explosion. So we lost him, and that was quite tragic for us as a family. Closer to home in my club, we had two Rotarians who were badly affected. One, from the force of the explosion, had lacerations in his head and back. And what made matters even worse, is that when he had to find his way to a hospital, all the hospitals were overwhelmed. So he had to basically go around from hospital to hospital while he was hemorrhaging to see if he can find a doctor or someone to take care of him. So it was quite a devastating situation. Thank God he's recovered. Obviously stitches and many thousands of people had to deal with stitches from the shattered glass in their homes. But one member in particular in our club is a very dear friend of mine. He's on the board with me, and he suffered a direct blow to the head, which basically pulverized part of his skull. As a consequence of that, he was in a coma for more than a month. And effectively, after 4 weeks in that coma, the family and relatives had basically pretty much lost hope that he was going to come out of it. And then miraculously, such is the beauty of the human body, he did wake up and he did come out of it. And from all the reports that we're getting now from the family members, he's round about 80% recovered, which is quite miraculous in itself. Now, in the process, he's lost an eye. The reason for that was that they couldn't operate on the eye with him in a coma. So because he didn't come out of the coma early enough, he had to basically lose his eye in the process. So he's currently in a rehabilitation hospital. These are some of the members that are close to us, but you'll hear stories throughout Beirut. Everyone has a story to tell about what happened with this explosion, which impacted every corner of Beirut. I can give you a very quick example. We're also involved in real estate and facilities management, and we had a brand new building that had just been ready to hand over, a state-of-the-art upmarket building, and it was around 1.5 to 2 kilometers away from the explosion. Now, it felt the full impact of that. There was not an apartment, not a floor that was left unscathed. Even 6 floors underground, 6 floors. The elevator doors were blown out of their positions. Doors were flown into the parking. Can you imagine 5 floors below ground? And this was happening. To give you a bit of an idea of the sheer scale of this explosion, which was almost ranked on a nuclear level. It's probably the largest non-nuclear explosion in history.
The most important photo I saw, and it hit me in the heart, when a nurse was holding 3 babies from the the emergency room, and she was holding the babies in her hand, and she was crying her head off, and trying to find a doctor and a place to put these premature babies, and it was I mean, the one who got the picture, I'm sure he will, he will be praised. You can take this picture and show it around the world and see how people can be of neglect, what's happened in neglect.
Yeah, Mahat, and that particular explosion, I know which one you're referring to, one of the hospitals, and in fact it came up in the video at the very start. Exactly. And what happened with that particular case, when the explosion impacted the hospital, the ceilings collapsed and the windows actually flew out of their place, and it was by sheer luck and a complete miracle that she was able to, the nurse was able to get out from under that entire disastrous situation and rush to the section of the hospital where the babies were, and to try to see where she could locate them, because they had obviously moved as a result of the explosion. So that in itself is a miraculous story of bravery on the part of the nurse, and the miracle of getting those babies to safety. And again, there are many stories like that in the country.
Well, thank God for miracles. We need that.
Yeah. Louise, you've shared with me the story all the way. Perhaps you'd like something to convey something to our friends that are still with us here on this Zoom meeting.
Of the many stories, yeah, I believe that one was in St. George's
Yeah,
Hospital,
exactly.
which is one of the private hospitals. And I know that
Right.
you know, there are so many. So there were 4 hospitals that were damaged.
That were badly devastated. There are actually more than 4 hospitals, but they were the ones that were in the sort of the direct line of fire, if you will.
And I understand that every hospital is a priority, but obviously Karantina, as you know, is the only state hospital. So the private hospitals will be getting funding and have insurance, etc. So that's why we've chosen the state hospital, which really is in dire need of assistance.
Absolutely.
Louisa, please, can you just contact me? I'll give you my telephone number. It's 0795 200 1320. Please call me, and I'm willing to help by all means.
Thank you, Maha.
0795.
Sorry. So I cut across that.
I've taken it down. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
I wondered if we have the other projects I've been looking at, and ones I came across before I got us to talk to Putney, were involving support for the Beirut Cedars Club and the projects they were working on. And coincidentally, this was the club that Tim came into connection with through Brussels, through the Rotary Club of Brussels. And perhaps I know there were, is it 22 clubs in Lebanon,
right.
Habib? I mean, how are you working together and towards a common objective?
Right. It's in fact 28 clubs in Lebanon, spread throughout the country. There is around 7 clubs in Beirut itself. The 3 original clubs in Beirut are Club de Beirut, which is a French-speaking club. Then there's the second Beirut club is Cosmopolitan, English-speaking, our club. And the third is Metropolitan, Arabic-speaking. And that speaks to the multilingual nature of the country and the city, which Maha would agree with. So we speak 3 languages quite fluently here. And then there was a number of clubs after that, including Cedars. Now, Cedars, from my understanding, is well known for the food boxes, Beirut Cedars. And we've collaborated with them and our Rotaractors and Interactors to supply food boxes to needy families in the Karantina area and the areas around the port. Again, depending on the focus of certain clubs, then there'll be an alignment. For example, we're collaborating with Club de Beirut on hospitals. We're collaborating with Matan Club on the minor repairs, minor windows and repairs. So you can see that clubs to focus on certain items, and there are so many to deal with. There's a whole pipeline of projects. As Louise pointed out, the reason why we as Cosmopolitan focused on Karantina is because it's the only public hospital in Beirut itself, and there is, a dire need for these underprivileged and needy people to get assistance that they would otherwise not get in private hospitals. And I've shared a video with Louise. It's in fact a BBC video, if I'm not mistaken, where one father had a desperate situation with his infant, his child, and he was basically rejected in the private hospital, and he found the saving grace in the Karantina hospital before it was actually devastated. And if you have that, Louise, you can share with President David and the rest of the members to get a bit of an idea of what this hospital is all about. But yes, David, back to your question, there is collaboration between clubs depending on what the focus is.
Okay, President David, could I just say a word about that from the artist perspective?
Please do, President Tim.
Basically, I've been working with Brussels and the other Rotary clubs in the capital cities of Europe because we have a program each year to do a project. And we put in 12,000 each year and try and do a global grant as well. For this year, it is being done by Brussels. And Brussels are going to do a global grant for Beirut through the Cedars Rotary Club. And the aim is to help the children's schools as immediate help to children. they realize with that amount of money and with what they can get with a global grant, that hopefully they can get them some ability to start to study, because they've lost all the laptops and things like that in the local schools, and computers are very important to them. So that's the focus at the moment, and they're putting their plan together, and they've got somebody in Brussels who can do it and knows what to do. So hopefully that will take off in the near future.
Tim, you mentioned Paris was closely involved as well. Was it not Paris you were saying we're going to focus on support for Beirut?
Paris are doing a separate project, and I'm not sure who they're doing it with, but they've said that they're spending more money this year on the corona problem within France. So I don't think they're going to give more than 2,000 if they give that at all.
Okay, thanks. There's so much, I think, was it, how many billion of funds was required to recover from the problem? Was it?
I mean, the figure was estimated between 10 and 15 billion US dollars, the size of the damage.
12 came to mind. So $12 billion required, $100,000 or $200,000. It's not a lot, but it's something.
Yeah, it's a drop in the ocean, but again, it takes every drop to fill the ocean, right? And every small contribution, no matter how modest, helps to save lives, and especially for the needy that are basically in a very exposed and dire situation as we enter into winter.
Also, perhaps it might be worth saying about the firemen. There were two, I think, who attended the blast, the initial explosion.
Yeah, I mean, effectively, just to show how much is needed in terms of support for these vital institutions, these essential institutions. 10 firemen were basically asked to go to the port, to this particular hangar. Not realizing, not being aware what was inside those containers. They were the first firemen on the spot, and they basically lost their lives in this tragedy. And 3 of them were in fact from one family. That's the sort of horrific story that we had to deal with. And the fire brigade is something that we've met with the heads of that unit in Beirut, and they're also in dire need of a basic waterproofing jackets and clothes, trucks, ladders, you name it. There's a lot of things that are required. But then again, as we've mentioned, as Rotary, we have to approach these issues and problems one step at a time, one project at a time.
Colin, you're sitting there quietly. Colin Matthews, you're sitting there quietly. You got Louise involved in this. Do you any comment?
Well, I'm delighted at the huge amount of publicity that's been given to this particular situation. I got involved purely and simply because one of the members of the Beirut Club visited the Putney Club with one of our ex-members back in 2005, and I've kept in touch, and the particular lady made it her point to get their monthly bulletin sent to me every month. And it's amazing the amount of work that Cosmopolitan gets through. And I'm really delighted that our president, Louise, and Habib have got together, and they've done many presentations around this country. And I wish them well in getting to grips with really trying to make a success of the contribution that can be made from us.
Colin, there was mention about a $15,000 matching from district. Do you know anything more about that? I've heard rumours, that's all.
Well, I think it's quite a very strong possibility. I've heard exactly the same.
Can I just come in here? Colin, like you, I received the monthly bulletin from Beirut Cosmopolitan, and I would agree entirely with you. It's the most impressive club. The things that they do are quite remarkable. And if we can support them, we certainly should.
Any observations on matching grants, Clive? I'm trying to find out where.
No, I haven't got the details at the moment.
I can add something on that. We have been talking to Robert Morris. Thank you. We have been talking to Robert Morris and Selwyn and all the district executive about the Beirut Cosmopolitan project, and it's looking very, very positive. I think in the past, matching grants have been about $9,000 per club, but they would like to go up to $15,000 or more potentially. So we're in discussions, and hopefully that we'll have a great pot of money to add to the project. So they've been very supportive, and hopefully we can get that through.
President David, I was going to add that we have had a connection with Beirut before, but we're doing a project for the blind school there. When Ray Hassan gave us some money, and we managed to double it, and then district doubled it, and then I think we turned his seed money of £400 into 6,400. So we have worked with the Beirut clubs previously very well. Yeah.
Thanks, Ian. I mean, if we can double up the money, then it makes every dollar we contribute that much more efficient. And I think if there's anything we can do as a club to actually support a district matching grant, I don't know, how does it work? What could we do to help ensure that matching grant is available?
Well, I think just show your support to the district officers. I think is the best way, and but it's looking very positive. So anybody who helps add in their vote of support would be most gratefully received.
Yep, absolutely.
Can I just ask, what's the best route to take either directly to the club, the Putney Club, or through our charity work, our charity club?
Selfishly, I'd want the money to come through our charity. But the important bit is, how do you get the money into Lebanon? And perhaps President Louise and President Habib could just clarify that. As I understand it, there is a secure route so that a dollar given will be a dollar spent on quality product in Lebanon. Lou.
Can I answer that, Lou, please?
Habib.
I guess the first port of call, if you want to gather the funds, that can be done and directed to President Louise. Then obviously we've set up a special account specifically for this project. And this account basically will be used for the global grant. So everything is, we pride ourselves on this, and those that follow our club know that we have a track record, an unblemished record in taking the funds and directing them where they're supposed to go. So, and especially if it's a global grant, that's another level of guarantee that the funds are going to actually be used for the place that they're supposed to be used.
Right. Absolutely.
David, can I just ask about the global grant? Habib, I've had experience of global grants for Bangladesh, and we had great difficulty in getting the actual foundation money. It took some time. Do you see any problem with that?
Not at all. If I can say, Tim, that we have global grants continually in the pipeline. We've just been approved 2 global grants right now, one for a new gen project and one for a photovoltaic system for a technical school for the needy. And last year we had 6 global grants that we basically received the funds for and executed. So we don't have any issue at all. And I can also state that we've already received funds directly from the UK and from other parts of the world, and they've come straight into our account, and we've confirmed to the clubs that have sent the funds with basically information or statements of account that the funds have been received. So I'm not sure how bad the situation is with Bangladesh, but I can guarantee you we've had no problems whatsoever in the last 25 years of history that we've been dealing with global grants in the country.
May I just add to Maha, your question, it was about helping. What we've done is Habib and I speak daily, and we've got a shared spreadsheet of all the funds that are coming in from across the country. We've got every single Rotary Club that has donated and when it was received. And what Rotary Club of Putney offered was to be a conduit, to receive funds into the British banking system and then say, right, we're going to take this and we'll transfer it over at the correct time to Rotary Club of Beirut Cosmopolitan when Habib says, okay, now, please could you transfer it? And so everything's transparent, it's recorded. And so if you donate, if you want to donate to Beirut, the best way I think is to give to your Rotary Club of London charity account. And then if there are other people who are moved to donate as well, it would be wonderful then for Rotary Club of London to then transfer the funds. And then once we have the big pot, we can then pop it over to Habib, just to save on transfers and all the banking charges.
So what you're saying is to give it to Rotary Club of London.
That would be great. Yes, thank
you.
We have the benefit of gift aid being added for those people who qualify. So it comes into our charitable fund, it gets gift aid added, and it goes out.
So please make sure that you tell me. I know your bank account. So I'm going to tomorrow, hopefully, to send the money. Okay, send you the money.
Send the money to Hugh. Just mark it for whatever project you're wanting to support.
Quarantina or Putney. What
just mark it Quarantina. Mark it Quarantina.
Quarantina Hospital.
And if I can just add, President David, that the beauty of the global grant, as I mentioned before, is the transparency of it. And it's important for us to recognize every single club that has donated to the project, and their name gets entered in the global grant application, in addition to individual sponsorship as well, in individual cash contributions. So that's a responsibility that we owe to those that have supported this project. And I needed to highlight that point as well.
So actually, Habib, can I just be clear on that? So our funds go to Putney. Putney sends the funds to you, to Cosmopolitan. Do we get recorded on the global grant, or
yes,
is it just Putney?
Yeah. Absolutely not. And I think Louise, or President Louise, wouldn't have it any other way except for to record every single club, no matter how large or how modest the contribution is. We want to recognize everyone that's been a part of this project. I think that's the spirit. That's the spirit of Rotary cooperation.
Lou, how many clubs have contributed so far?
We have 33 and one inner wheel club and counting. So we've got lots of pledges in the pipeline, and we do to speak at a number of clubs in the coming weeks. So
that's from all around the UK.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I can add, David, also that we've also received funds from clubs from around the UK, from Scotland, from Wales, from England, directly here. So that's to confirm what Louise has just acknowledged as the case.
Yes, sorry, we've also, we don't mind if it comes to Putney or directly to Habib. We've encouraged anybody who wants to put it straight to Habib. That's absolutely fine. Whichever way it goes, it's going to the same project.
Exactly.
So that's the way we've worked it. And because we've got the shared spreadsheet, we can record where it's gone from everybody in the UK.
I do take the point though, it's probably more efficient for a large transfer, and also you can watch the currency exchange rates a bit more closely. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Thank you, Louisa, for your effort.
Pleasure.
You're great.
Thank you. It's been great working with Habib. I must say, I've learned so much about Lebanon. He's a walking encyclopedia.
I normally, because I know that unfortunately Lebanon itself is infamous, if I can use that word, for more contemporary events like the Civil War and the recent explosion and so forth, and the wars around the Middle East. But it has a rich history, and I try to sort of give a balanced perspective by sharing some of the achievements that really make one proud as a Lebanese. And Maha, I'm sure, is aware of a lot of these historical
Absolutely.
aspects.
You're a very good example of the gentleman, Lebanese gentleman. So really, I salute you.
Thank you so much.
If she was 10 years younger, yeah.
Well,
VJ.
No, I'm sure he's engaged or married with children, and don't worry about me. I'm a grandmother. Don't worry about me, George.
I was just going on. You've been sitting there very quietly watching this communication. What's your perception? What's your view from Bombay?
Actually, in India, we have not, I don't think India is participating much into this, but we can work out. That's why I told Habib also that we'll be touch in email, and maybe I can support them. I will go through my network and reach other people, because recently I have supported a project in Nigeria. It was a maternal care project, and we are getting good responses from Canada and Australia and other Indian districts also for that. So maybe I can definitely support them. I'll put it forward to my networks.
Okay.
I have a good networking in around 15 countries, more than 30 clubs.
Yeah, thank you for telling us that, because yeah, you come from a different background, if you like, than Brussels, Paris, and London, and you know, Bombay has its own problems, but sorry, Mumbai has its own problems.
I think Julian is aware about my projects that I've been dealing in. He's been regularly in touch with me.
Yeah, I apologize for not attending as often as I should. Julian.
Yes, just say yes. It's been good keeping up with VJ. I mean, it'd be nice if we can do some more things, get some things going together and work together.
I will put you on to Rotary Club of Calgary, Canada. They have been donating a lot. I believe I will put you on, Habib, to them. They have been donating a lot, so maybe they can support your project also.
Thank you for that. We have support from Canada, but a bit of additional support will always help. Thank you for that, Vijay. I appreciate it.
Sure. You're welcome.
I think we should close this then, Clive. I think everybody's said what they want to say. And,
I think so.
And thank you everybody for staying to chat. Yeah, thank you. And thank you, President Louise and President Habib, for being here so that we can ask you these questions.
Yes,
David, can I just say thank you so much for being so generous with your time, allowing us the opportunity at the start of your business meeting, which was very with a very tight schedule, and also giving us a chance at the end of the meeting to have this discussion. It is sincerely appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maha, as well.
Thank you so much for fantastic work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, Clive.
Thanks.
And
Thank
Colin,
you.
also, thank you for making the link possible with President Louise. Really appreciated.
My sympathy to all those people who lost their lives, and I mean, this guy, I hope he'll recover quickly. All the people recover quickly, and God bless you.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
We'll say goodbye to everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Clive.
Bye-bye.
Bye, David. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Julian.
Good to see you all.
Next time.